what would you say had been some of the major changes that you've seen in the the 12 or so years that you've overseen this group?
So that's a really good question. The first thing that comes to mind is when I joined the industry 12 years ago, sort of fresh out of doing a lot of IT work, I think the AV industry was kind of like the craft or guilds of the past. There were these groups of dealers working together, crafting custom solutions. They were very proud of their craft, their expertise. It was like the furniture guilds. I will make you a chair that will be a unique chair that's strong, it's durable, it's great. You'll love to have it in your home. I think in 12 years, that's changed markedly. It has moved into more mass production. People expect a standardized solution that is plug and play. Manufacturers are responding to that. They're developing products that are plug and play. I mean, we should not ignore that as an industry. The need for integrators is changing rapidly. There are many, many technology savvy customers who are saying, we can purchase this AV equipment, plug it in, and make it work. So that's forced AV dealers to make a transition or not. And I think those that have not made the transition are struggling if they're still looking at it as custom crafted solutions versus high volume standardized solutions. That would be my opinion of the biggest single change.
Okay. Now you mentioned you came from the IT industry before you moved into USAV. Are you surprised that there still is some resistance and kind of butting of heads between those two sides? 12 years later, I'm sure it was maybe worse when you first started, but there's still pockets of it today. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I would say I'm not even disappointed in a way. I had an IT business partner who I think he coined this phrase. I've used it many times in the past, but I give him credit. But he said, never discount the ability of the average human to just muddle through. And so I think there is a mindset for many people that maybe subconsciously resist change and is willing to just muddle through as long as they can. Now, I would say the muddle throwers are beginning to lose steam at this point. I mean, this industry has grown up to the point where it's very rare that a dealer can make even a living, let alone a prosperous business, by just muddling through. So, I think critical mass has moved. Most dealers have embraced that, but there's a few AV integrators who are trying to just muddle through.
And I imagine there are times during your USAV meetings that you do have to remind the AV dealers, that you have to work with these IT guys if you're going to be successful in this business today.
Yeah. Again, I hope it's not a bad reference. I always want to be politically correct here, but we used to say internally, are the monkeys running the zoo? Who's in charge here? And you have to recognize your place in the value chain. And the truth is, in many places with many large customers, IT is at the top of the value chain, driving the structure and the architecture of what we do. And it would be to our discredit and chagrin that we would not recognize that. So recognizing where you are is very important. And, there are a few cases we've seen and done case studies where really, and I'd credit Dave Lebusky's and Infocom for really pushing this idea of the AV experience. And that's what I pushed our dealers to recognize. We have something that the IT people don't have. And it is, that last mile. Well, in AV, it's the connection between the system and your ears and eyes. As long as we remain human, that will be an analog connection. We manage the conversion into an experience that provides audio and visual immersion that can be really powerful. So when you can find those types of projects, then I've tried to encourage people to think that's when we're selling a Rolls Royce. We're not selling a Chevy or Ford. We're selling something that has value, and we can demand and expect that degree of value when we create a unique experience. But let's face it, many of our projects are cookie cutter, standard equipment delivery and configuration that needs to be part of the value chain with IT at the top.
Okay, I just thought of the fact that obviously you were working in IT before. Did you ever give any thought to partnering with an IT consortium like what you did with PSA? And obviously they're on the security side. Was there any thought of USAV, partnering with an IT group like that?
We actually did, and there are some IT organizations, and I would credit Chuck Wilson and NSCA for doing a good job in terms of broadening a little bit of that base. That's one of the ideas that Chris Whitley and I had. When you're a small organization with Nero, you have all these great ideas that just never come to fruition, and we never actively pursued that, although probably half a dozen times in the last 10 years we said, yeah, that's something we really ought to do, but we never did. Now our dealers, especially, our more forward-thinking dealers, led us down that path in terms of teaming with the combination of IT and AV skills, and they did some of the heavy lifting there. But we perhaps to our discredit, we never did go out and search for that.